Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So as you can see on my screen that I have three videos here, and this video is going to be the fourth part of this series, and I will make a playlist out of these four. And in case I'm keep going with this series, I will keep adding to the playlist so that you won't see any kind of difficulty finding the next video for that. So today what I'm going to work on is in these three videos what I have done is I have created a setup, and I tried to log in or sign in using first using saved, or you can say string user ID and string password, and then I did database fetching from tables specifically for users, and I did the encryption also for the password so that we can have a secure application. Now I'm going to work on register users. So in case you are trying to find an easiest solution, this is it for you. So keep watching this video, and before we work on the code, if you are new to my channel, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. There is an easy and quick step that you just have to hit the red subscribe button. I know I'm not begging here, it's up to you. If you like the content, you can subscribe, otherwise yeah, you can skip that. Okay, so I won't say much, and I'll just open my clips. So here I have the code ready already. So what I will do is I will start from the code which I had in the third part of this series. So from there onwards I will keep adding to the code to show you what you have to do, and I will explain while writing that code like why I have done that. So let's do that. Okay, so I have the code with me. So here you can see that there is no registered JSP page which we have to add, and this was the login JSP page which we were using, and these are the classes that we had in part 3. So this is also the project structure. So what we have to do is first let me run this code so that we can have some kind of idea how it is looking right now, and then we will keep adding to it. So now let's see. So I just imported the project, and it took some time to start, so maybe that's why it is also taking some time to start. So this is the login page as of now, and here you can see that if we have a user in our user table, so let me check first if we have any. So yes, we have that. So if you try to log in here, it redirects you to welcome admin to the site. So this is working fine, right? So now let's say if there is no user and you want to register that user, in that case you have to. So I was manually hitting this query, and here you can see that admin is my user and password is root, and there is this secret key for the encryption, and the same I was doing for the decryption. So now I will handle this insert query using Java code. So first I need a view. So what I will do is I will just have a replica of login.jsp, because the format is going to be very similar, because I'm not having a lot of user details, so that's why I will not be asking a lot of details from the user. So I am going to create one more video on this. So in that case what I will do is I will just so you might have seen on the login or register pages that they ask type password and then retype password. and then for that I will do some kind of JavaScript or Ajax maybe, and so I will do something about that. So that is still pending, but yeah, I will work on that after this one. I clicked on something else while I was speaking. I just copied this and let me just paste it. So here I will just say register. So now to this, what we have to do, so first there has to be a connection between login and register. So for that connection, what I'm going to do is, on this login page, what we have to have is, in case the user does not have the credentials, it will not be able to log in. So here we should see some kind of a button, so that if he or she click on it, then they get redirected to our register page. So that is the agenda. So here the form is ending here. So this form is for this particular thing. So I need another form for my redirection thing. So I will just create another form, and here there is a simple thing that we have to use is we can use a hyperlink. But again, here we were trying to post it to back to a controller, but here we are going to have a hyperlink. So for that we don't need a form. So this will be reduced and we will just add it here. So I need spacing, so that is why I am using MT3. This is specifically for Bootstrap. If you don't know it, you can read the documentation. It's very useful. So here I have to use hyperlink, so I will just remove input, and I have already copied the hyperlink so that I can reduce my work, obviously. So here this is going to be the hyperlink, and this is going to be redirected to our controller. So this has to be a mapping, but here you can see that this is going to be a button, and it is going to be a block button, right? And the name is going to be register. So if I save it and refresh this page, we should see something here, and we are not seeing something here. Okay, so my mistake, I added this to the register page rather than login page. Okay, so this is the form, this is the button, and so click refresh. So here you can see the register button, and if I click on it, you won't see any difference, but you will see only one button, or you won't see anything because we don't have the mapping right now. So we have this login controller, and the name of this controller signifies that we have something related to login here, but we are also doing register here. So what I will do is I will rename this login controller, because we should follow good coding conventions. So that's why I will rename this to user controller, right? So this is done. Now what I have to do is I have to have a request mapping here. So simple thing, what do we need to have? We have to have a get mapping, not a post mapping, because we have to get something, not post something, right? So we are going to just display the page, and we need to provide one more thing, which I will tell in the later section. On few more sentences later you will get to know why I have done this. So here if you see, this request mapping is for this register which we added to this login button, and here we will come to this request, and here I have model added, and this I can remove right now, but it is for the purpose which I'm going to use it for later. So this is going to redirect. So if I save it, Spring will refresh it, and we have to wait for it. Okay, done. So now if I go back to login, I am being very slow here because I don't want to skip any important detail, right? So if I am clicking on register, you can see that that register button is no longer here and we have this page. So good thing is that we are being redirected. Bad thing is that we have to change this button from login to register, right? So let's do that first. So I just have to change this is password, this is login, so I will just do here register, and this form is post, but we have to have another mapping here where we will receive the user ID and password. So that request mapping is going to be post, because here we are receiving the data, right? So I hope you guys know where to use get and where to use post. So for this very same purpose we are using this model. So let's see the trick now. So here we redirected, or we went to the register page, right? And we send an object, a user object along with it. So why did we did this? So see here we have user ID and password. And now let's see user class. So user class also has two attributes, user ID and password. So if I don't send this object along with our model, what will happen is I have to get separately these values from the form, user ID and password. I have to get them separately in their separate variables. But if I use model, I can directly map them to their corresponding object. So in case we have more variables here in this user class, we just have to do nothing, right? Because this user is already being sent out, and this registered JSP is obviously going to be altered, but we don't have to bother about this post request mapping, because we are going to get each and everything in our user object, and that is the only advantage, and that is why I've used this user object inside the model, right? So I hope this part is clear. Now when we have register.jsp, it doesn't directly know that this password is going to be mapped to the user. We have to let Spring knows. So for that we have to use few things, and first let me add them and then I will tell you what they do. Okay, so this is what we need. So now why did we need this? So there is this specific reason that when we are using a form, right, we have this name and this can be mapped to your request mapping attributes, but when you have to map it to our model, then Spring frameworks provide us some tags through which Spring recognizes that okay, this is going to be mapped to some model attribute. So when we do form : form, this is what we meant by core tags. So here if you see, this is a tag, this is a prefix, but this is also a tag, and this is being imported here so that we can use it like this, right? And then it comes along with this model attribute. So here we just have to provide what did we receive through our controller. So here we have user, so this is not the name, this is the name. So whatever you are going to put here, you just have to provide this here. So like this. So now when we do this, each and every tag of HTML type has to be done similarly so that Spring can further recognize. So button can be left out, but for some conventional things, let's do it. So here now why did we did this input? Because there is this another attribute path. So through this path it is going to map user with these input types to their respective variables, right? So this is how Spring does the mapping. So this is it that we had to do, and this is going to be mapped to our user object. That's it. So now when we hit submit, the user controller is going to get a model attribute of type user, and here we have the value of each and every variable which we did here in this form, right? So when we have that, what we have to do is we have to do the insert query. So for that we have to do some changes. So I'm going to create a new method in our DAO layer, also in our service layer, and it is going to return integer, which I will tell later why is that. So this is going to hold user. That's it. Let's do service also. Damn good system I have. Okay, let's do it. Int, and then what was the name? Okay, looks good. Now we have to do the same for implementation. So for DAO implementation, I have to add an implement. Okay, let's go to service layer. Okay, so here we just have to remove this, and instead we have to return user DAO dot create user. That's it. So we are done from here. Now let's come back to DAO implementation. So here we have to do the important stuff. So first we just have to copy this query and paste it there, right? Because same thing we are going to do with few modification. So let's make the query first. So here you can either hold down to your secret keyword to some kind of string variable, string because of security reason, or you can do it in query, whichever suits you, right? Here this is going to be a variable because user can provide any user ID and any password, right? So this is the important stuff. And now what we have to return is, now we have to call our JDBC template to execute the query. So we are going to get JDBC template dot, there is this method update. So here this update method is going to return you an integer, and that is why the return type of these methods that we just added is integer. So here let me talk more about JDBC template. So JDBC template is not a feature specifically for Spring Boot. We used to work on this with Spring MVC also. It got modified a bit, or you can say improved a bit, after we have had a Spring Boot. So that's why you can see a lot of good things, and you don't have to do a lot of configuration which we used to do before. So here here what we have to do is, so we have update here, so here we have to use, okay, so there are few options that we can use, but like with update also, but the obvious choice is going to be so when we use prepared statement, so this SQL is not just a statement, this is going to be a prepared statement, and I hope this is clear to you all, because it is being used at so many places, and if you are going to work on a full-fledged application, you will see it everywhere. Rather, if the project is a legacy project, when we talk about struts, there also you will find prepared statements. So we should use prepared statement for a lot of SQL injection or hacking kind of issues, so that sort of thing. So here we are going to use prepared statement creator, because here we are going to create our statement, and that's why name. So here what we have to do is, we have the query ready, so here we just have to first create the object of prepared statement. So here we use this, and then we will just use, okay, I did something good. Okay, thank God was not so here we have to use this connection, which you can see here. Through that we are going to get the instance, right? And here we have to use the query which we have created above. That is done. Now we have to set the values for this question mark. So for that we have the values. So first we have to know the type. So if you don't know the type, you can refer the type from the table column. So let's say if user ID is integer or number in your Oracle table, then you know that the type that you have to use is int here, otherwise string or whatever type is there. So we know that this is a varchar in our table, so we will use string, and indexes start from 1 here, so we will use user dot get user ID, and similarly we will do set string, and here we will do 2, and here user dot get password, and then we just have to return PS, right? So after that, let's come down to this. So here if you see, when we hit this method, we get the response back as count. So if the query is successful, if the insert query is successful, and there is only one insert query you are executing, so you are expected to have only one result back, as in one row affected. So for that, if we don't have the value as 1, that means that something went wrong with the insert query, which could be that the user ID which the user is choosing right now is already there, so it is not able to insert because of unique or primary key constraint, right? So in that case we will have an error message, some issue occurred with registration, and we will work on it on the later video also to further enhance this. And then if it doesn't happen, or when the error happens, we redirect back the user to the register page with this error message. Otherwise we will do a success message, and the user will be redirected back towards login page, so that she can log in and try to get to the dashboard. So this is what we have to do. Let's save this, and we don't have, I don't think we have error message in register. If we do, okay, we have that. Now for login we have to have a success message also, so we will just copy this and we will wait for the Eclipse to not hang a bit. Okay, thank you. So here we have a success message, so success message, and it should not be danger, it should be success, sounds like a good word. And here we will print success. Again we have to modify the height a bit, because we are going to use something more also. So I will use 270 here. Will 270 suffice? Let's do 275, okay, just to be on the safe side. So now the complete code is done. Right now we already have a user here, as you can see, so I will just truncate this table. Okay, so if I do this now, we should not have a user, right? So now let's do the register part. First let's go to login, click on register, Okay, great. Admin and password as root. Click on register. Okay, user created successfully. Now let's try to log in. Admin and root. Okay, so the exception is duplicate entry admin for key user ID. So did we not delete it? Not sure. Okay, something is going wrong. Let's see. So when we are doing login, then it is trying to create, which should not happen. So let's go back here. Okay, so here we have to do some modifications. So how to say this, let me do the modification and then I will explain. Okay, so wait a minute. So what we have to do here is we forgot to do this, and that's why. So let me point out few things. So if your button type is not submit, in that case it will not go back to the controller, and that is what is happening here. So hyperlink is considered to be a button, but it is not a type submit, right? So that is why when we click on register, it is not actually going to submit, right? So let's we have already saved it, so let's try this again. So we have already created or registered the user, so we just have to log in now. You can see here that we have an entry here and the password is encrypted. So let's do admin root and hit click. Okay, finally it is working fine. So this is it for the code, and again, like I said, I'm going to do one more video, maybe more videos, and I will further enhance this code. So I will request you to keep watching or stay tuned for more, and this is it for this video, and I hope I will meet you in the next one. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you like the content, and I will meet you again in some other video. Till then, have a good day, stay safe, and bye bye.